It's a little bit hard to know where to begin because there's so many conflicting starting points over the years. The main one starts with my mother. She was such an honest person and she was so believed by everyone, but she told us a story which stunned us as kids. It wasn't a ghost story, it was a fact that happened to her. She said she was laid in bed and all of a sudden in the doorway there was a shadow of someone stood there with all seaweed. Then she realised it was Jack and she said, "Oh, please don't come anywhere near me." And then he disappeared. And she regrets all her life that she hadn't said that. She said, why would she say that when her brother was come back to see her? Okay, Wayne, you better jump.
Well, that was the story it definitely began with, because I remember the same story, the way Nana told it.
Yes.
And I've never forgotten it. Nana told me a lot of things in life which I really remember, and that was one of them. To be honest, you know, I didn't know what to believe when I first heard it. I was stunned too.
My mother was always very proud of Jack, and she thought the world of him. And the story does go, which I think is very true, that my mother more or less brought Jack up because her own mother worked. They had to. And Jack looked on her as a sister and mother.
Yes.
He really thought a lot of your mother, and they had a lovely, nice relationship. And it haunted her, using her.
Losing a younger brother.
Yeah.
So, in that event. So, and then, I mean, recently, we've had the opportunity, to talk. Dean remembers the story. We spoke to Vaughan about it. Vaughan remembers it.
Paul remembers. Our other brother is. They all have a little bit and we all remember things, but as soon as we mention it, a certain thing, you say yes. Like I mentioned the seaweed to Paul, and
that
straight away
the seaweed,
he said, yes, I remember that now.
The seaweed,
my mother's story. It was, so we were brought up with that. And I always believed my mother. And I never heard any other stories, no other made-up stories. She was very, very sensible.
Well, I've never known to this day what to believe, whether it was a ghost, or was it a premonition, was it, Nana Connie had such a powerful subconscious, and was such a great storyteller.
But then comes to the part where I am only, 7 when the war ended, so it comes to the part where I first realised something was seriously wrong. I knew Jack had come over to our house once, took me for a ride on his motorbike to Hatley Clay, Morecambe Aerodrome, watching the Lancasters take off. We were counting them.
That must have been an experience.
It was, and they had the road closed, and you couldn't hear yourself. You couldn't even hear the motorbike running. And it had a heck of an exhaust. The planes were that noisy. 4 of those big engines passing you by.
So that was probably about somewhere 1943 to somewhere around there.
And he took me for a run on his motorbike, and it was great. And that's all I remember of me Uncle Jack. Such a nice chap. But as I say, the first...
lovely memory.
Yeah, lovely memories.
Ride on a motorbike, that's fabulous.
Yeah.
Was that your first ride on a real motorbike?
Yeah. Hey, no one had many motorbikes those days. When you think about it, yeah.
I wonder if because he was in the police force, was it a police motorbike or was that...
No, I don't know what even motorbike, I'd be guessing.
You'd be guessing.
And the thing is, I'd like this story to be told exactly as it's all truth. And that's true. I don't know whether.
And then, you mentioned, Dad, too, you've got the other memory you had was you remember that after Jack went missing, then in your house, people had gathered, and I think that was Margaret, your mum.
They came down, his wife, which was Margaret, and my mother's mother, and Renee, and they were all crying, and I'd never seen people because that cry before, and all serious, and it was something serious, and they tried to hush it up with those kids, but
you were pretty young to realise at that age.
But I knew it was a very sad time, and it was worrying. I can remember her mentioning my mother many times. She used, because they presumed he'd be shot down perhaps over Holland and in the water. Everyone thought that the message must have been it was lost in the water. So my mother always said, "Boy, you're such a good swimmer," because he always used to swim in Grimsby's Royal Alexandra Dock.
That was the Alexandra Dock.
Yeah.
Describe Alexandra Dock.
Wait. I see it later. See, it was the Royal Dock.
What you saw later then, just so people know what the dock was, just get an idea of size.
It was quite big, It had a bridge over it, Corporation Bridge.
Did it?
Yeah. No, it
Corporation Bridge. What?
But that's still there.
Is it?
I had to look at it the other day because it's
a big dock. Do you remember Alexandra Dock, Mum?
Big dock. It was a navy dock.
I don't know Grimsby all that well.
Not now.
But it's a good place to learn to swim. It wasn't like going in a little swimming pool. It was like swimming a long way, not a few houses around.
Those memories, right? And then, really, we knew Nana's story, and then, you had the photo album, which you then got out. We must get the photo album. It was, and that was the thing when we opened up this. The photo album, and found it was the letter that Margaret, Jack's wife, had written to Connie.
Oh yeah.
And the letters dated 27 June 1944, and which is Vaughan and Darren's birthday. And this was what Margaret wrote to your mother.
Dear Connie, it was nice to know you too. Feel Jack is safe. Everyone does. And I know if prayers mean anything, he will be safe. Now that the shock is a few days old, I can see so many possibilities, and I know of no one I could rely on better than he not to miss opportunities. If there is a way, he will find it. A letter from Jack's squadron leader told me that the trip that night was to Vesseling near Cologne. That doesn't seem too far from the Dutch and Belgian frontiers, and as you will know, there is help there. As you say, Connie, I am sure Jack's trouble will be his inability to let us know he's all right. He would be the last to wish us to lose heart, wouldn't he? Margaret.